Coffee, Blunts, and Donuts, episode. What is this? 5?
Another episode.
Another
Episode
episode.
5.
Episode 5. This one's dope, though. This one's dope. Chilling with some mobile shit. We're doing some mobile things.
Black business ownership. Really spotting out local businesses, local communities, stories of, adversity and overcoming. That's what I'm all about.
You are.
As
Tosh
smoking,
likes to make
as
it
we
sound so
smoke.
professional. I just like to be like, I'm chilling with someone that gets to actually drive around and move weed legally. Like, it's an amazing thing.
That's
Like,
the goal.
she made it sound so like, yo, that's dope. That's how you probably get the license to do these type of things.
Exactly.
But we're about to find out the story behind this thing.
Yeah.
So we're here chilling with my man Devin today, co-founder, co-owner, Rolling Relief.
Co-founder, CEO, Rolling Relief.
Yes, sir.
I got an echo.
Massachusetts' first Black-owned, licensed delivery, operating company. Did I get that right, Devin?
Yeah, no, we're one of the first. We weren't the first, but we're one of the first.
One of the
Yeah,
first
first.
Black-owned? Or
Yeah,
okay.
one of the first.
We're still making history here.
I like
sure.
she said license because they've been we've been moving this way so dope. But like the fact that now you can just sit in your house, relax, and they're gonna bring the dispensary right to you. These are the guys.
I've been dreaming for days like this, honestly. Weed delivery, especially me personally. I don't drive, so weed delivery is just like a dream come true to me. So
Yeah, no.
again, welcome, Devin Alexander. Welcome to Coffee, Blunts, and Donuts podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Tell us about your company, Rolling Relief. When did it start? How did it get off the ground?
Well, we formed the LLC back in May of 2020 after, COVID hit shortly before. That made delivery an all-time premium because nobody could leave their house. So that's what really made the license attractive to us. As well as the fact that in Massachusetts, delivery licenses are set aside exclusively for what they call equity applicants, people who have been impacted by the war on drugs. So I was part of the first cohort of the state's social equity program that ran from October 2019 to April of 2020. And then right when I got out of the program, that's when we formed the LLC. And, it took us 3 years to launch. It was a long time of just building and strategizing. We made our first sales on February 24th of this year.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Dope.
That's what's up. We got to add the round of applause clap. We got to add the round of
Yeah,
applause
Justin,
for that.
get that in there.
We're gonna have to get the round of applause for that because
One of
like,
these buttons, I know. I don't
no, but that's what's up. We're gonna get that going. But nah, seriously, that's dope because you said that like you was part of a program. How do you was you disenfranchised? Do it? Was you?
Yeah, no. So I was arrested when I was a senior in high school back in 2011 for very minor possession. I was never no big time hustler.
Crazy.
I only sold weed just so I didn't have to spend money on buying weed. Get it cuffed to me, make enough to pay back the plug, and then just keep it moving. So that's why.
That's crazy. That's how most people end up selling weed and graduating onto different things sometimes. But that's how most weed dealers
That's how it
in
is.
high
It's
school.
like, why am I
they're like, well, I'm
buying
not-
weed? I can just sell it and have some for myself, and I'm getting it so much. Why don't I just try it
changes
myself?
everything for you.
That didn't
No,
work for me.
100%.
So your senior year grabbed you up, huh?
Yeah, it was during February vacation, winter break, and they didn't catch me doing no hand to hands. I just got pulled over in my friend's car, and I was in the back seat, and they smelled weed. I was the only person of color in the car. I was pulled out, searched, and they found 3 dubs on me. I just got arrested, put in a holding cell for 7 hours, got bailed out, and said to keep going to court. I never did no crazy bid like some people in the country have gone
Right.
through. I was never convicted of anything. I was just arrested as a juvenile. And at that point in time, I had plans to join the U.S. Air Force, but due to my arrest, those plans were derailed.
Okay. And that usually disqualifies you for a couple of years. And
Yeah. At that point in time, 2011, that's before Massachusetts medical program was established. So marijuana was still very taboo at that point in time.
Right.
There was no, stores we could walk in and buy cannabis for medical or adult use. So people saw me as the worst person around, someone that fucked up their life and wasn't going to go anywhere. And it's tough, being young. I didn't take the SATs because I thought I was going to just join the Air Force. So I didn't really have a plan B. So everyone's going off to college, going off there, doing this. And I'm just stuck around. So I'm just trying to figure it all out.
It's crazy.
And so what made you want to get into the weed delivery system? Because you've really become a social equity activist for this community and this industry.
Yeah. I mean, it all goes back years. So after I got arrested, I took a year off of high school, and then I bummed around and I didn't do jack shit. And then I enrolled in. I was like, this ain't it. After a year, I was like, you know what? This ain't what it's all cracked out to be. And then so I enrolled in the local community college, Quincy College, got an associate's degree in psychology. Realized if I wanted to do anything substantial with psychology, I was going to need a master's degree, and I was done with school at that point in time. So I looked on snagajob.com for respectable jobs, and I found a CVS pharmacy technician. It was on-the-job training, and you work and learn and get paid at the same time, but you got to pass a drug test. So I had to take somebody else's piss and fake a drug test.
Went through every step. Hold on, I want to back up for a quick second. You said so you dropped out after the case.
What?
Did you go back? Did you get your diploma?
No, I got my diploma.
Oh, she got your diploma.
Yeah, and I got an associate's, but then I realized
No. In high school, you said after you got arrested.
Yeah, no, I took a year off after I graduated.
Did you get your GED? Oh, you went back to high school?
He finished high school.
I finished high school, took a year off, then went to college.
Oh, okay. I was lost for a minute. I was like, wait. I want to know how he flipped. No GED, no high school diploma into associate psychology.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's the truth.
No, I was going to have to, I really wanted to prove people wrong. They said I wasn't going to graduate. They said I wasn't going to do all this. So that was probably like one of the first points in my life where proving people wrong was very gratifying for me. And I just kept building on it since then.
The hate motivates. It's crazy.
So I'm working at CVS Pharmacy. Actually, it was the one right down the street here in Braintree, right over there on Washington Street. I worked there for a number of years as a pharmacy tech. Hate in life, it's a terrible job. At that point in time, I didn't have a car, so I'd wake up, take 2 buses in the morning, and stand on my feet all day to get yelled at for shit that's not my fault. Doctors, insurance companies fuck a lot of shit up in the pharmacy, and you're the person right there in front of them, so you're the one getting the full blunt of it. But eventually, I started getting better at it and started getting the process down to the point where I'm really good at it. So I start coming into work high because I work better when I'm high. So I'm just working like clockwork, just boom, boom, boom. Don't even have to second think anything. And then at that time, that's when the medical field started opening up here in cannabis for Massachusetts. And then I realized how easily transferable my skills would be that I learned in a pharmacy to go work in a dispensary. So I took online courses to, tailor make my resume and make it more attractive to cannabis companies. It was really competitive at that point in time because there was not that many operational. So I printed out my resume. I went around to all the conventions, passed it out, talked to anybody who would ever want to talk to me, and just try to get my name remembered and my face remembered. And that went on for about like 8 months until I finally got a job at a local dispensary here in Quincy that was formerly known as Airmont. It was the 7th medical dispensary in the state to be established. And so I started there in June of 2017 as a bud tender, someone who just serviced people weed. And at that point in time, I had no ambitions to own my own business. I was so happy. I thought I made it. I get to come into work every day and just sell weed and talk about weed. And it's in the community that I lived in my entire life, right? So I'm serving weed to my friends' parents, their sisters. So it's like people I went to high school with, like my old teachers sometimes.
Same people that looked at you funny.
Exactly. You already thought your circle had come from.
Now you're like
100%. So it's like
who else better to get it from?
Exactly. Like, of course you work here. Of course you work here. So that went on for a few, right? And then the company I was working for, they got acquired by a larger entity. And 9 times out of 10 in cannabis, large entities are just shitty people in corporate cannabis. They're known as MSOs, multi-state operators. They'll have a spot here and spots across the country, right? So they came in and they fired a lot of people and really turned the place upside down, really drained employee morale. But I was working at CVS for so many years. Like, I was like, there's nothing you can do to break me. I've seen rock bottom. I'm selling weed every day. Like, there's nothing you can do. So eventually, I rose through the ranks there, and I became the director of community outreach at the dispensary. And so now I'm doing community events in the city I grew up in. We're doing community cleanups, we're doing fundraisers, we're getting books for the prison book program, helping people get their GED in prison, helping them learn a second language. Okay. And then in September of 2019, I organized what's called an expungement clinic, where I gathered attorneys pro bono, and I gave individuals the tools and the resources to remove nonviolent cannabis crimes from their criminal record. So when I was arrested in high school, the same paper, the Patriot Ledger, they put my name in there trying to villainize me. And then flash forward, I'm doing something to help people that went through, and that same paper put me on the front page, saying this kid's doing it, this kid's that. So
this is crazy.
Seeing,
so
you gotta find the applause, Justin.
I'm like,
you need to we gotta. Now we don't want to just hit any button. Womp womp.
Yeah.
No.
See what I'm saying? We don't want to just hit any button. We like that one though, but we'll get there.
We will. But...
Yeah, so it was dope. I was getting those people come out to my event, people who were all around the community. Kobe Evans and Kevin Hart, the owners of Pure Oasis, the first Black dispensary in Boston, right. Before they became operational, I invited them out there in my event, and they both showed up. Tito Jackson, former city councilor in Boston, right. Owns Apex New War on State Street. He was the cousin of someone that worked with us, so Tito came and showed support. People from the testing labs, and that was like my first public speaking appearance in cannabis. I also had the former, at the time, Commissioner Shalene Title, who was on the Cannabis Control Commission. She came out and spoke on the panel, and she's like the Tom Brady of cannabis policies. She's like the GOAT. So for me to have that happen, everyone was like, damn, this dude's plugged in. He got her to come out. How'd you do that? How'd you pull that off? And then it made me realize these people weren't here to support the dispensary. They were here to support me. They were came to go see me. So that's what really sparked my interest. So that was September 2019. 2 months later, I started the equity program. It was a program put on by the state to give people who have been impacted by the war on drugs a chance to get a foothold. And it's free. It's free technical assistance. So it was pre-COVID, the first half. So we would go around to different parts of the state to take classes. Our first class was at the State House. Our second class was at Suffolk University. Our next class was at Bunker Hill Community College. So it was dope because you got these places that have the infrastructure for classroom settings. And it's also while other kids are going to school too. So it really gave it a feel that you're at an institute of higher learning. But, those kids are paying to learn shit they don't want to learn. And I'm learning shit I want to learn for free. So it was really fire.
Now, what are you guys exactly learning?
We're learning the whole parts of the different licensing process. That's from the state level, from the municipal level, commercial real estate, accounting, advertising, branding, all different things like that. But it's crazy because everything that I learned in that program had nothing to do with delivery because the delivery regulations did not get released until a month after I finished that program. So the regulations were a textbook, and you can't learn from something that doesn't exist yet. So... Literally, I get out, it's after a month. So the fact that, delivery has such low startup costs as opposed to a retail is what made it so attractive to us, on top of the exclusive window we had to run adult use delivery operations. So we had a 2-year window. And at the time, how the delivery model was set up, it would made it so the delivery licensee has a separate location. They partner with a retailer. They take on that retailer's, products, and everything they don't sell at the end of the day, they give back to that retailer. They're basically a glorified Uber Eats. And to us, that was not a financially feasible model. So we set out to create a whole new model, right? Okay. So when I was going out for expungement day, going to networking events, trying to get people to come to my event, I went to this one event over by South Station at a General Assembly. And I met this guy who worked for this company. At the time, I had no idea what it was, but he knew who I was, and he knew that delivery was set aside for equity applicants. He goes, "What's up, man? My name's Justin Robinson. I'm the co-founder of this company, Drizzly, with this alcohol delivery service. We started here in Boston. We're trying to expand, go nationwide." I'm like, "All right, cool, man, whatever you say." And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to start this whole new company called Lantern. It's the cannabis equivalent of, Drizzly, but he knew they couldn't get into the delivery game because they weren't equity applicants. So they were just trying to set up with people who could do that." Right. So I didn't take them serious at that point in time because there's a lot of shady people and a lot of predators in this space. So I just kept it moving. And then fast forward, COVID happens. Drizzly blows up 500,000%. They become the Amazon of alcohol e-commerce all through North America, Mexico, Canada. I'm like, oh shit, let me hit this guy up. So like, Justin, bro, what's good, man? I just finished the equity program. I got a lot learned, got a lot down. You still doing an incubator? He's like, yeah, apply to it. So I apply, write some essays, do some interviews, and then me and like 3 other people get into the program. One of them being Nikki John, who was the first Black woman-owned dispensary in Boston. She's over in Charlestown. Chris Fevry, one of the first Black-owned third-party transporting licenses, and this kid Ruben, who's out in Western Mass. So they're really just teaching us about delivery because they know delivery e-commerce so well because they've been doing it so good with Lantern. But when I was in that program and linked up with those kids, I said, hey, this model isn't going to work, right? Because after that exclusive window is over, what incentive would that retailer have to keep the delivery company around if they could just do delivery themselves? They just throw you to the sharks, you're dust in the wind. So it was imperative we created a whole new license type that gave us our own independence. So being in that program, being with those kids, we formed an association known as the Massachusetts Cannabis Association for Delivery, which I was the vice president of. And once we formed this association, that gave us a lot of validity. And that's when all the news interviews started happening. That's when everyone wanted to ask us our opinions on things and how can we create a better model. And so we started meeting with the commissioners after that as well, because they see us on the news. They're like, yo, let's talk to these people. So we proposed a new license type that allows delivery companies to cut out the middleman, the dispensaries, go straight to the source, the cultivators and the product manufacturers, buy product in bulk, buy it at wholesale, and store it at your facility overnight. Now, when we proposed that, a lot of people laughed at us. A lot of people said we were crazy. A lot of people said it was a pipe dream. They're like, they're never going to go for that because you guys are going to fuck over the retailers, and they really depend on the retailers.
And it's Massachusetts.
Exactly. You know how shit is around here. And so you guys do this shit, it's going to turn the industry upside down. But, shit was changing at that time. We were still fresh off, the murder of George Floyd, so Black Lives Matter was, really still going strong. And obviously people being locked down and needing delivery. So it was really just like almost a perfect storm, because I didn't have anywhere to go, so I'm literally just plugged in, just focused on doing cannabis policy, just doing this. And all this time I'm still working at the dispensary too. So because we were a medical dispensary, we were deemed an essential business, so we could stay open still. So I'm working in the dispensary by day, taking equity classes by night, and working on my business in the meantime. I was just a man obsessed, just going crazy about it, just going hard, like Mamba mentality, just really honed in on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So we were lucky because at that point in time, the Cannabis Control Commission was doing a regulatory revision where they asked constituents, what changes do you want to see in the regulations? And they're like, boom, this is our time. We want to see this change with delivery, right? We want to have this new model. So when it came time to do public comment, over 100 people spoke to the commission publicly, and like 90% of the audience echoed our sentiments, said the same things that we wanted to get changed. So it was very overwhelming in our favor, which led to them, approving the license type. So like, boom, I graduate the equity program in April. I get into this incubator program in June. I form this association in July. We create a new license in August. So everything's just going boom, 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 breakneck speed. Shit's just wild, right?
Yeah, that's a ride.
Yeah, that's the dream right there.
It's a trip, right?
But you took all the necessary steps. Like you got all the tools. Even with working with CVS, you needed those tools to be able to bring that to the new job and have the flow and the equity classes that you took. You did take the right steps to get to where you did. You put in the hard work. It wasn't easy. You put in the hard work.
It's anything but, for sure. And working at CVS instilled, the work ethic and the attention to detail in my stuff. Like I was a psycho when I was a bud tender, and like my draw would be on point to the last cent. Like my punch-ins would be on point to the last minute. I would never call out, never show up early, and just getting after it. And so us creating this new license type, obviously pissed off all the dispensaries. So
how'd you get them in? Now, once they're mad and now they can't deliver, because your license must. I figured you guys figured out a way to make sure they could not deliver, and that had to be a whole separate entity.
Yes.
So Now they have to use you.
No. So now we don't need them at all. So before they had to use us, right? Because we're taking their product. How are we making money on it? We would only make money off of delivery fees. We can't, buy at wholesale and then sell it at Keystone, right? So I was like, how do you make money with this license type at all? You don't own anything. You just have an office. So you're literally setting yourself up to fail from the rip if you do not create this new license type. That's set aside exclusively for equity applicants who are mostly Black-owned businesses. So when Massachusetts legalized cannabis back in 2016, they have a legal state mandate that says they have to promote equity in the industry. We were the first state to do that. We were also the first state to create a statewide social equity program. States like California, they have their equity programs different by city. So Los Angeles is different than Sacramento. Sacramento is different than San Diego, and so on and so forth. But Massachusetts was the same all across the board, where you have exclusive access to this license type, you receive expedited review, and you receive technical assistance. So these people bitched and moaned to dispensaries. They had their own association that was known as the Commonwealth Dispensary Association, the CDA. It was made up of about 80% of the retailers in Massachusetts, and the spot I worked at was one of those people. So I'm literally, doing virtual rallies on the clock at this spot in the back room, telling these people, fuck these people, fuck this, while I'm getting paid by them at the same time. So
that's how union started.
Yeah, no, so that was a trip.
Oh, they hate the union. They hate union talk in the weed industry.
Hell yeah.
They hate that.
Mm-hmm. So once we finalized this new license type, it got promulgated by the Secretary of the Commonwealth. It's not going anywhere. They filed a lawsuit against the Cannabis Control Commission over everything we worked for. So at this point in time, it's January 2021. So we finalized that license November 30th. I got fired by my job December 4th, and then the license was finalized in January.
Hold on, you got fired because you went against them?
Nah, they knew it was him.
Most likely,
they
tried to say I was smoking in the parking lot, but I knew what it was about.
You're like, we've been smoking in the parking lot since day one.
I'm like, what?
Now I'm getting fired.
You know where you're at right now?
It's crazy.
Okay.
So it's January. It's 2021. In January is MLK Day, right? Obviously. So a lot of these dispensaries that are part of the association that's filing this lawsuit are on social media saying Black Lives Matter, social justice for all, equality for all, equity for all, doing MLK quotes. What would MLK say? What would MLK? I'm like, that's what lit the fire under me. So now I don't work for anybody no more, but I'm able to collect unemployment because that was the fire time to get unemployment because there's still the COVID shit. Right. Yeah, so you're getting 3 times unemployment. So I'm getting unemployment, but I don't have to wash my mouth anymore. I can say whatever the fuck I want. So I just unleashed. I just went full Human Torch mode, just ripping anybody apart, commenting on all their posts, seeing them in person. At that point in time, anybody that stepped to us was going to feel it. It was either going to get down or you're going to lay down.
And you're the vice president right now. Right?
At this point, yes. And so I was like, yo, if you're against...
It's coming from the top.
If you're against us, it's not a good look for you. It's not a good PR stunt to be involved in this. So one by one, these dispensaries started dropping out of this association because we were putting them on blast. They couldn't hide behind the shield anymore. So the first dispensary to drop out was Netta over in Brookline. They were the very first ones, and they're a big player in the state. So that was
one of the first ones here. So
yeah, exactly. So and they controlled a lot of the supply chain as well too. Right. So it's like, yo, you better fucking jump ship before you sink with the rest of these fools. So once they did that, it was a domino effect where you started seeing this person drop out, then this person drop out, then this person drop out.
Remedies, boom, 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 boom.
I wish he said ascend.
No, I didn't see
ascend. And so I told him, before I got fired, I told them that that lawsuit was coming because obviously people talk. And so I had whispers of it. I was like, yo, this association you're a part of, about to file a lawsuit against everything I worked so hard to create. You should probably not be part of the association. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We really look to them for guidance, and they have a lot of influence with the commission. And I was like, yeah, if they had so much influence, this license type would have been created. And then they're like, blah, 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 blah. We just went back and forth yeah. And so after I was fired and after everybody else starts dropping out, and then they post on social media saying, yeah, we're going to leave this association. It's not a really good look. If we're going to talk the talk, we got to walk a walk. And then I couldn't bite my tongue. I was like, "Oh yeah, why'd you change your mind so fucking quick?" And it's like, "Oh no, Devin, we're always gonna get out of there. You know, we care a lot about social equity applicants." So anyway, the lawsuit was announced on a Wednesday, and it was dropped by Sunday. It didn't even last a full week.
That's crazy.
And so this association, with all these people leaving it, they're paying like thousands of dollars in annual dues. So like they're not a thing anymore. Like we really just destroyed, picked them apart piece by piece until they collapsed.
You're a monster in this game. You are.
So now you're still the vice
down
president of
big
this association?
businesses.
Are you still working with them?
We've definitely, like, at that point in time, we were just activists. But now all of us are business owners. We don't really have the time to really be doing it. We have some stuff in the wings because, we're trying to change the regs again this time around, make the license type even better. So for delivery in Massachusetts, they have what's called the 2-driver requirement, where 2 drivers have to be in the vehicle and one has to remain in the vehicle while there's product in cash. We can't carry firearms. We have to wear body cameras. There's additional cameras in the vehicle. So it's really that person is a sitting duck. But we've been pushing for that since we created the license 3 years ago. So this is 3 years in the making. And just finally now are we seeing progress. Like they just had their monthly Cannabis Control Commission meeting on the 8th last Thursday. And they're like, yep, I think it's time to change this 2-driver rule. And like any article or any interview you've seen me do in the last probably 2 years, there's a good, you've read that I've been fighting for this for a while.
Okay. This is good.
This is amazing. Now, with your company, how do you work with, what suppliers do you work with? Like, how do you set that up?
So it's dope. So obviously 3 years is a long time when you're anticipating something, obviously, right? You got to keep your mind busy. So the people that are on our menu are people that we've known for years that have also gone through the process, So I made it. So seeing how where I worked was operating, it made me not want to work with corporate cannabis or big money people ever. I wanted to support the little guys. And so everybody on our menu is a small, locally owned Massachusetts cannabis business. So when you buy delivery through us, you support 2 local businesses with 1 purchase. So for example, Coast Cannabis, they make our chocolate bars and our gummies. They were the first woman-owned product manufacturer in the state. Freshly Baked, the first social equity certified micro business in the state. River Run Garden is the first micro business in the state as well. So
now, do you deal directly with growers also?
No, correct. All the above. So growers, product manufacturers, all those people. So while we were waiting to get our license, we would go and visit these facilities. We'd go out to their grow. We'd go out to their edible kitchen. We'd go out and see their process, see how they're doing it, see how they're treating their employees, and see what advice they could give us. And we would always talk about the day where we could all come together and work together. And now it was finally here, and it's just so crazy.
Now, is it like Rolling Releaf? Do you have your own packaged product?
We do. We didn't grow it or produce it, but we do have some deals with the dispensary down in Fall River called Northeast Alternatives. So we have some white labeled Ace and some white labeled pre-rolls that say Rolling Releaf on it.
Okay.
Dope. And now I know you're not statewide with the delivery yet, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Our headquarters is over in Newton. We're in Newton, so we have a 20-mile radius around Newton. So we really focus on the greater Boston area. Because the name of the game with delivery is population density. You don't. That's why it's not gonna pop in Western Mass because it's like barely anybody out there. So our greatest asset is our location because most times, 9 times out of 10, we're at our destination in less than 30 minutes.
So now, basically, this is why dispensaries are upset. I think I get it now.
Oh yeah.
So
we're
you have now your own product in house.
Yeah, no, and I can price it how I want. And
jump in the car and go.
So because we have lower overhead than them, I can sell it at a cheaper price than they can, and they're stuck in their town. I can move through multiple municipalities. We're
no longer waiting.
If one market gets saturated, I move over to the next one. But they're still stuck there because they have their leases, they have their host community agreements. They're nothing they can do, and they can't get in the game themselves because it's exclusive with
What are we doing?
No, this is great to hear. And how many employees do you have right now?
We're a small team. I only have 3 employees.
Oh, okay.
You know, we keep
That's
it,
real good.
like there's a 99% chance we're the smallest cannabis company in the state, for sure. But we get the most press, so it's good.
Yeah.
No, but that's good. I
Most
mean,
press,
with that
most
radius,
attention.
like exactly. So
Tight
like,
circle.
depending on if
Circle.
widening the radius, that's when you bring in more employees.
Yeah,
and things.
exactly.
Exactly.
That'll come in time.
And it also,
Sure.
when we get this 2-driver rule fixed, because then we can get more people out with more cars
Right.
on the road. So obviously,
Right.
it's expensive. Somebody calls out, that person can't work. Especially during COVID, people getting sick left and right. So the 2-driver rule, it's gonna be huge. Massachusetts is the only state that has adult use delivery that has a 2-driver rule. New Jersey doesn't want to do that. Colorado, California, so
And you're saying even if you have your LTC,
you can't bring that shit
Cannot.
with you. No.
it's crazy.
This is us like, it's wild, the way the regulations is currently set up, you think we're delivering plutonium.
Just tape it.
I mean, don't
Get
you think
robbed,
that's
just tape
safer
it.
though to
It's
have
like-
somebody else there with you?
But it's mean like, yo,
I
if,
know it's taking
if they don't
up
have
more
any,
of
if they
your
don't have any
people.
weapon, like we have,
You're putting 2 people at
Scaredy
risk
cat.
now.
we have
I know.
like 4 different forms of insurance. We have product liability, general liability,
Right.
auto. The car's GPS tracked. The
Yeah.
product is tracked in the seal track system. It is not what if you're ordering delivery, you have to upload your ID, and we have to
Yeah,
go
you
up
do.
to a residence.
Right.
Yeah.
It is just not worth it at all for you to rob. You're better off
And if you get
trying to
those
pull like on a
same-
legacy market.
You get them same repeat customers, and you get them wild, funny ones, crazy shit.
Bro, you have no idea.
Yeah, you don't even complain. Like, yo, you must get them people. You get the house, and they're like, yo, come on in. I got 100 cats.
Yo,
So,
you see some crazy shit. And that's really opened up my eyes. Even working at the dispensary, there's people from all walks of life. They're all here because they love cannabis. They all like to
Right.
consume cannabis. But then you got people that didn't start smoking cannabis until it became legal. And you got to
and
teach them.
That's an amazing group of people because
Mhm.
it's like they're like, nah, like they hated on it, but they just didn't know, and they love it, and they're feeling better about life, and it's just like,
Like, damn, this is what I'm missing
I
out
was
on
missing
this
out
whole
all this
time.
whole
yo,
time.
those are the
Yeah.
ones they're getting exploited by the. Oh man, they're getting exploited.
Oh, 100%.
That's crazy.
Especially when I was a bud tender, I'm like, yo, you're coming in dropping all this for this? Like, holy.
Yeah.
You realize how many people
Right.
you realize how many people don't know a guy.
And then
you
they just
know?
taxed you.
Mhm.
You're like,
Mhm.
oh man, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. So medical's no tax, but adult use,
Right.
there's like
Yeah.
a 20% tax for
Yeah,
adult
there is.
use.
But
Yeah.
that medical, once you get that medical, and it just takes away a lot of.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
it's
You
crazy.
do medical too?
No, we do
Oh,
adult
okay.
use only, but I have my medical card
Mhm.
because certain states allow like out of state medical patients to come.
Right.
Oh,
But Massachusetts doesn't, So if you have a medical card from
That
another
makes no
state,
sense.
it's crazy, right?
But we do
Re-
recreational, so you're better off
Reci-
just showing your regular ID.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They just wanna tax you. You're-
Exactly.
you're from out of state, we're gonna tax you.
Massachusetts.
And if you have your medical card, you can't get your LTC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so
one or
that's
the
that's
other.
another
So-
thing as well that plays
Yeah,
into
people
it.
don't realize you're like saying you're admitted to a condition.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's crazy. I mean, like it'd be an alcoholic. Go ahead,
Oh.
play with all the guns.
and that's one of the right. And that's one of the first things they did when they said medicinal. Medicinal was so long before recreational became approved. The gap in between, everybody's like, nah, I got my medical license. I got my
Yeah.
medical license.
They're
You're
running
looking at
together.
everybody like they fuck the laws. I'm sorry about my fault. I gotta take that out of here. But forget the laws. But it's like you can't carry now.
Yeah,
Now you can't carry. They just said
Yeah.
we don't want you to carry Massachusetts anyway. We make it hard enough as it is. But you want your medical weed card? Here you go. We're gonna give it to you so easy. Everybody got them.
yeah,
Now you can't carry. It's crazy how that works. Politics.
yeah. And there's a lot of politics in the cannabis space, and that's something I didn't realize while getting into it. And how much politics you have to know,
Yeah, definitely.
especially going through the municipal process. City councilors getting permits, dealing with this department, that department, and Newton was very, very, very tough for us to get into.
But it's amazing how many politicians in those cities that it was hard to get into got into the weed industry in those cities.
Funny how that happens, right?
That's
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah, they
If
see
you
where
look
the
around,
money's at.
there's
They
a
see
lot of ex-politicians,
what's happening.
few sheriffs.
Yeah,
They're in it.
exactly. No, you gotta have a lot of pieces, especially if you're not connected and just like a small time guy like myself. Like you could have a
Right.
lot of pieces, line up for you. So in Massachusetts, they gave the municipalities a lot of control, right? So people were able to opt out if they want cannabis business in their borders or not.
Mhm.
Braintree, Weymouth, Milton, those are all towns that opted out. But Quincy, where
For
I'm
deliveries,
from,
right?
for just all across.
For
Well,
dispensaries all across.
Any license
Oh,
type,
okay.
dispensary,
And I feel like that's only
cultivation.
now because when they see the tax that people are taking in for that,
Yeah.
they're gonna want to jump in.
Exactly, and it's been
Like marijuana past alcohol, so it's gonna they're gonna want to jump
it's
in.
been damn near 7 years since we legalized now.
Crazy.
So people, people are starting to open up. But they did it so if that certain city or town, if the majority of the voters voted yes for legalization, then they couldn't put what they call a moratorium in place. If they voted no, they could put a moratorium or a ban in place. Just a ban where cannabis businesses can't open up for this certain amount of time. So when an entrepreneur, you got to find somewhere that obviously allows your business first. Boom. What city or town is going to allow my business to operate there? And then obviously you have to look for available commercial real estate that's in the proper zoning, because you can't just open up in any old commercial real estate. 9 times out of 10, it's where in like an industrially zoned area. That's where they have you set up your spot. And then, your landlord still has to be cool to rent out to you, because cannabis is still federally illegal. And if they're financing their building from the bank, you run into some trouble there as well.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you have a open and close time? Like you're not allowed to deliver after a certain time of night?
9 p.m.
Wow.
Currently. That's something we're trying to get fixed as well.
Yeah, they got it, because we're not gonna say his name, but there's one dispensary out here. And there's only one, and I noticed that. But it is, like you said, because where it's located, it's open till midnight, 7 days a week. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Is it in Melrose?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
That spot. Yo,
Yes.
they like, that time when they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me shoot over here.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed till midnight, 7 days a week.
Oh yeah, that's what's so crazy about all of it. And they have a spot in Newton as well. That was their first. That was their first spot.
That one's open till midnight too?
No, that's open till 9, like we
See
are
what I'm
as
saying?
well. So it's different. It's crazy how like you don't really realize how. Like I had no idea what a municipality was before I took the equity program. I was like, okay, just say city or town. You don't got to be fancy about it.
But you look at it and you're like, yo, it's 4 minutes from this.
Yeah,
That makes
imaginary lines, right?
So
you cross,
strict with it out
you
here.
You can
cross,
ride your bike.
Yeah.
You can walk.
you cross this
It's
imaginary
right
line. You
there.
can't do this anymore.
It's just like the dry towns out here.
Exactly,
It's so
but
crazy.
with the dry towns, they can still get alcohol delivery. Drizzly, which
But
is
what
so
about-
crazy. But if you have a moratorium in place, if you're in no town, we can't deliver there currently. So on top of the 2-driver rule, that's something we're also trying to fix. We can't deliver to hotels. We can't deliver to federally subsidized housing. People in the projects. Yes.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of
Whoa.
There's a lot of
damn.
rules
If
that we're
your
trying to
project address
That's
pops
crazy.
up,
Yo,
you're gonna deny it.
you know how awkward that is to have a
Damn.
conversation with somebody. It's like, yo, you live in the projects. We can't come there. Sorry. Like that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
So there's a lot
Where's the
of
bill?
Yo,
Where's
that's-
the bill that I have to sign?
That
The
is
petition.
crazy.
Yeah. So that's what we push for, they get the regulations changed. And this set of commissioners, they know that, that's, they're very understandable. They come from, backgrounds of areas who have been disproportionately impacted. So, I was never a public speaker, never an activist until I started getting into I never wanted to be a business owner until I started getting into the cannabis space. Once I started working in cannabis, that's when I realized I had an authority problem, right? Because I've been dealing with weed for a long time, and the people that were the higher ups, you're working at like H&R Block last year, you don't know jack shit. You're gonna tell me how to do this? I can do this better than you.
Can you deliver to the house across the street from the projects?
I can. So that's what we have people do sometimes, or people who are at a. But if
There's
people are at a
always a
hotel,
loophole.
exactly. If
Nah,
people
no,
are-
I mean, I'm just saying because
Yeah.
I just want to know if it's like, all right, is that whole place of nope, red zone?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. And like every city and town has different bylaws and how they operate. For instance, the town of Belmont, right? If you want to have a dispensary, you can't serve people under the age of 25 because they consider the age of 25 when adolescence ends. That's when the brain is fully developed. So
In
people
Belmont.
that are 21 through 24 can't go into a dispensary in Belmont, but they can order delivery. So I can come deliver there. So there's so much crazy little stuff that people
So
don't
you like
people don't
Belmont?
know. Oh hell yeah, I love
Shit.
Belmont. It's right next to Newton.
That's
It's right
that's
there.
Crazy. That's good.
So you got to be really, especially when it comes to delivery.
right.
You got to be strategic in where you're going to place your headquarters, right? You want to get there fast. You don't want to have to waste gas, deal with bullshit.
Now, do you ever have to deal with like you're about to walk up the stairs? It's 8:00 at night. You're walking up the stairs. Like right now, it's light. It's daytime at 8:00, but in the winter, you're walking up the stairs. You're going to deliver. Now the police think you're just selling drugs.
And that's what's so crazy because, like, we're very incognito, right? Like,
Right.
we don't have markings on our vehicle and we don't have markings on our building. They have to wear body cameras. That's about it. I don't
Right.
make my employees wear uniforms. They're dressed in plain clothes, really. So you would think it's just any little thing. Like our
This
delivery,
YouTuber.
our delivery vehicles, like they're 2020 Toyota RAV4 hybrids, like just any regular car. We don't have
Right.
vans. We don't have, fleets, things like that at the time right now. So I like it that way. But, knock on wood, we've not been harassed by the cops yet.
Nah, that's
Are
crazy.
police even stopping people for
Nah, not for
attempted
weed, but I
selling
mean, like,
weed anymore?
nah,
drugs.
But they're going
But
everywhere. They're
I
just
get
like,
it.
I mean, what if you see like they got like 6 deliveries in the same neighborhood and there's just a cop just sitting there and he's like, wait,
Yeah,
this guy just
bouncing.
stopped here, stopped here,
Yeah.
stopped here, stopped here.
Yeah, man, I wish we can get 6 deliveries in the same neighborhood. That'd be fire. Fast, just boom, boom, boom. But but most of our spots we get to aren't too far from each other. So that's really dope. But there's some cases where people will look at our menu and see that we have something that nobody else has, and they're like, "Yo, will you please come out here and deliver it?" To, like, for instance, we had someone in Worcester hit us up. It was like, "Yo, you're carrying this topical. Yo, I'll buy 6 of them right now if you come deliver to me." And I'm like,
Right.
"All right, word. Yeah, I got
Are
you."
you
an
allowed
exception.
to take debit?
Yes.
See, that's a big thing too, because the dispensaries don't take debit.
Yeah, we found this new thing. We can take credit cards now.
But
That's
is
what,
it
that's, what I
each
meant.
one?
That's what I meant. My fault. They don't take credit
Yeah,
cards. So, and it's like,
we found this new platform. It's called Ledger Green. So I don't know how they do it, but it's legal. Like we went through it. So we have this platform, and then we just enter the person's address and the amount of which they owe. We send them a link to their phone, and they scan their license and then just pay with a credit card. It's crazy.
and or cash.
And we accept cash too. Yep. And then that Ledger Green also accepts Apple Pay. So I'm like, yo, this shit's a game changer.
Wow.
This is so,
Yeah.
this is so better than dispensaries. Like
It's
now you
too-
don't,
it's
you
getting-
don't
just
even
getting
go
so
there.
convenient,
Like the lines are
like-
too long. Driving
Even
there, the
ordering
traffic's so
online.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, just waiting there, checking in and doing all that. So delivery is definitely the wave of the future, but it's, still going to take time to really flourish, as in like other states like California as well. People just don't know it exists, right? Because the advertising regulations are so strict in the state. You have to make sure 85% of the audience you're advertising to is 21 years of age or above.
Oh. Wow.
So we have strict marketing restrictions. We can't do discounts with adult use. We can't do certain other things, but
Can you do discounts with medical use?
yes. So medical use, what's very popular is they'll do like first time patient discounts. Your first time coming in, you get like $50 if you spend $50 off if you spend at least $100.
Right.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm all about this new delivery business, Black-owned business.
I knew
supporting
nothing of it.
Yeah,
It's like-
and then that's what we do. Just trying to raise public awareness, listing on like third-party technology platforms like
Right.
Weed Maps and Leafly. It's been very beneficial for us because they have the audience. They don't have to adhere to the same regulations we do because they're not a plant touching business. They're an ancillary business, so they can advertise and do billboards and shit like that.
So now is there still is the delivery free?
Fee.
Some people do.
Yeah, 'cause-
Some people do that.
I'm saying,
we
yeah.
don't. We don't. So
that's the advantage.
we have-
Because you got your own product.
we have a $60 minimum, no delivery fee. That's it.
That's a plus. Can't beat
What's
that.
the minimum you will deliver though? With a fee?
60. There's no
60,
fee.
60 no fee.
60
Oh, okay,
minimum.
my fault.
Yeah.
I might as well be like,
60.
yo, hey, shit.
60 no fee. Some people, $75, $5 fee, $80, $10 fee, things like that. But because we can be in most spots very soon, we don't have to do a delivery fee. When it comes to like the greater Boston area, there's only like me and another other company that's based in the greater Boston area, delivery company that does what
Right.
we do. And so that's very beneficial for us, obviously. Because it's so tough, man. It's so damn tough to get to the finish line in this space, in this industry, as an entrepreneur, as a young Black man, as an equity applicant who does not have access to capital and be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going through fundraising, one of the
Right.
first rounds of fundraising is called the friends and family round, right? But if all your friends and family are broke just like you, where the fuck are you gonna get money from? So that's where the predatory investments come into place.
Yeah.
And, financial literacy is very lacking in Black and brown communities. So they get taken advantage of very easily.
And it seems like a lot of the dispensaries that are popping up, they are the equity situation going on with them. And they are big names attached to them.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Michael
They
Bevan.
like every big company's coming in getting themselves one black guy.
Exactly.
Let me get my black guys.
Michael Bevan from Belle Biv DeVoe is going to open up over in Faneuil Hall.
Right.
Calvin Johnson, former NFL Hall of Famer, Detroit wide receiver, partnering with Equity Applicant to open up in the financial district. Travis Best, one of the basketball players out in Springfield, he's doing like a lemonade cookie store out there.
Wait, these athletes are using the equity pot too?
They partner with equity applicants. They find these equity applicants.
Exactly.
Yeah, behind the scenes person. The athletes at the face of the company because that's just going to attract and drive sales.
Yeah. Amazing.
They're all flooding to Massachusetts.
I know. It's crazy because Massachusetts is just becoming more saturated. That's why like wholesale prices are going down. That's why you're starting. That's why you're starting to see cheaper spots.
Yeah, that's why I got a half ounce for 40.
Especially
the flower's so cheap.
Especially in cities like Brockton, I think it's the best example because Brockton is so saturated. So people are selling $10 apes like crazy.
So let me ask you a question. That's crazy because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, do you still smoke street weed?
It depends who it's from. Because obviously,
like certain gas, because like the certain Massachusetts still got these rules where like the gas ain't the same.
Yeah,
and it's like you getting some street weed and you're like, yo, listen, this rapid weed shit's bomb.
Yeah, no,
but the prices are fucking outrageous.
Yeah, no, I got people who are like I said, certain select
right?
Because I know they grown it themselves. I know a lot of home growers, and I know their process and how they get down.
Right.
So I definitely smoke that, but some other times I won't smoke that. I go actually. I have a medical card, and so I go up to Maine a lot. Maine has a reciprocal medical program, so they allow out-of-state medical card holders to come visit their medical dispensaries, and their prices are just crazy, and they grow straight gas.
And they allow that. Are you the same situation with THC content that you're allowed to sell?
Yeah, that doesn't apply for us. I know some states are trying to do that, but in Massachusetts and Maine, we're not capped in THC potency.
So they can
limits.
whatever they get.
Exactly, and I think that's a big difference. That's a big difference in the adult use in the medical program in Massachusetts, specifically for edibles, right? So edibles, when they're adult use, they have to have like a 5 milligram cap on it, right? That's why you see like the sodas and the seltzers be 5 milligrams. If you get a chocolate bar, it's 20 pieces. Each one's 5 milligrams. They can't total over more than 100 milligrams, right, as a whole serving. But it's the exact opposite for medical. They don't have any dosage limits because, say, you have someone that's like a diabetic, you're not gonna make them eat fucking $20 pops.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So you know all the knowledge. I mean,
you broke it down real quick, and it's like, if you were listening.
You learned a lot.
You might be able to start a business.
You set the path for sure.
But it ain't easy though.
Exactly. That's what I said. You gotta put in the hard work.
It's not easy.
Oh yeah, no, that's years of grinding.
Yeah, you gotta educate yourself.
Going to conventions, webinars, just reading articles on Google, watching YouTube clips, listening to podcasts. Just really just gotta feed your head. I was just hungry for knowledge. I still am. I'm never gonna learn it all, but I'll always be a student of the game.
Right.
Because this business is forever growing. Like you said, it's hard to get at the finish line. You're not even close to the finish line.
Exactly.
Yet.
No, you go through the whole licensing process, the struggles, and then you have to run a business.
Yo, so now that you guys are making all these deliveries, right? Like, what's the goal? Like, what is actually not looking for like your blueprint, but like, what are you looking for to get out of this?
Become one of the top 3 deliveries in the state, and then eventually get acquired by a larger entity and ride off into the sunset. Just go 10 years from now, I'm gonna be on a beach in Mexico. Just chilling. Yeah, this shit's stressful, man. This shit is, I've seen a lot of crazy shit in this space. I've seen, it's literally, I'm not even joking. I feel really bad. I've seen people have mental breakdowns. I've heard of people, committing suicide. Yeah. I've heard of people doing this. I've heard of people getting fucked over by investors, by business partners.
And you're full hands-on staff.
It puts a lot of strain on you. Yeah, like this is a $1 billion industry. There's a lot of big money around, so there's a lot more shadiness, a lot more connivers around. Everyone's trying to get a piece of the pie, and a lot of backstabbing going on. So I just try to stay above it all, keep my head down. And just grind it out, make something that someone's going to want. So obviously, after the exclusive window comes and that ends, a larger player. I think
people want. I feel like you already turned down offers.
Oh, for sure.
At this point, like
no, there's people like
once you have it in Massachusetts, it's kind of easy to get acquired.
Yeah, not all money is good money, and that's something I learned. That's something I learned early on for sure.
And that first offer is not the best offer at all. Especially if you put in that much work, you might as well keep going, build it up, do what you're doing.
Exactly. And they're not going to want to put
the
in
offer's
that.
gonna keep
They're
getting
not going to
higher.
want to put in the work you did. So all they're going to
Hell
do is just
no.
cut a check, and then like, whoop, and
Hell
I'm like,
no.
all right, here you go.
And you know the worth of your company at the end of the day and the
Exactly.
potential that it has. So
Exactly. And then,
Yeah.
changing the regulations, like the 2-driver requirement and being able to deliver to hotels just makes the
Right.
license type more valuable down the road.
exactly. And that company, you're
And
not
what is
just
their
about the
reasoning?
surface. You're not just on the surface. You're really trying to make change and change rules and stuff. So that's how you're different in this
Yeah,
in this
no,
game.
for sure.
What is what is their reasoning on not delivering to hotels?
They don't want people smoking inside their rooms. But like, it's so crazy because, people can just order edibles, right? They don't got to smoke. They can just do this. So
Okay.
it's really low-hanging fruit that can be changed, right? You don't have to do a whole, recreation of the wheel. They can just
That's
strike
another
out,
one. If you're visiting-
strike out a line and just rewrite it. Like, okay, you can deliver to hotels now. Well, there you go. Because that also plays into a
Right.
big piece of the tourism in cannabis as well, right? Because
Yeah.
most of the people that are in hotels are from out of state, coming from states that don't have cannabis legalized in their state. They come here to Massachusetts, they get excited. Like 9 times out of 10, people go to a hotel, they don't rent a car, so they don't kick it to the dispensary.
Right.
So we come straight to them, But yeah, that's something that I'm fighting for very heavily to get changed.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it'd be safer.
And the hotels are gonna want a piece of the pie. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
how
everybody eats,
goes.
B. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying? It's just like paid in full.
Yeah.
Everybody eats.
Definitely.
Oh, there's definitely
I mean,
money out here. Definitely in this industry. So
You can't get mad at the
Exactly.
hotel saying, okay, now, well, if you're gonna order delivery, you got to get it from this one company.
No, that's what
This
I'd
is my
love.
preferred
That's what
company.
I would love to see, and that's something that
And it's like,
we
yeah,
like.
partner with
exactly.
Yeah, why
hotels.
not let them partner with it?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Put the doorman on.
Make
it easy.
The valet. Like,
Yeah.
tell everybody about us.
Make it easy.
So yeah, man, and it's just a constant fight. It's a constant struggle. But we're at a point now where we can just sit back and run the business and just try to improve it piece by piece. Massachusetts passed a law last year in August, and they're going to create what's called a Cannabis Social Equity Trust Fund, where entrepreneurs from the equity program are going to be able to get grants and low interest loans, because obviously still cannabis is federally illegal. You can't go to the bank to get a traditional small business loan.
Exactly.
So you have to depend on private investors, and 9 times out of 10, people with money are just the worst kind of people.
And that's what you guys again taking advantage of.
So if we can just go to the state and get money from them, we'd be much better off.
Right. Did you know this?
I didn't know any of this, but I'm educated now, and I'm definitely backing Rolling Relief and all that you're
Yeah, I love
doing.
the name. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Like, how did you guys come up with the name Rolling Relief?
Oh, I came up with that.
Like, it's like,
I
was
do,
like,
I
yo,
do. Like, I do my best. I do my best thinking at like 5 a.m, right? I wake up very early for some reason. I don't know why. I don't sleep with an alarm clock. That's how my internal alarm clock works. But I do my best thinking at 5 a.m. Like, you ever wake up early and then fall back asleep and then have like 3 or 4 dreams in succession right there? Just your mind. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it
You're
is.
not sleeping, but you're
Yeah, you just have a
gone with
whole
it,
bunch of
yeah.
dreams, mad quick. Like, you wake up, you're supposed to be up at like 8. You wake up at 7, fall back asleep, have like 5 dreams. You wake up at like 8 o'clock. I don't know what it is about your brain at that point in time, but that's when I do my best thinking. My brain's just running crazy, and it's 5 a.m. It's completely silent outside. There's no TVs on. There's nobody talking. There's no cars, no dogs out. So you really have time to think. So I used to sleep with a notebook next to my bed, because I would wake up and think of shit and just write it down. And then, just one morning, I just woke up and it just boom, just Rolling Relief. I wrote that shit down. I wouldn't say it out loud for the longest time, because I didn't want anybody to
Don't
steal my
jinx it.
name.
Don't take
Yeah,
my name.
and I would show people. I'd write it down on a piece of paper, and I show people at my work. I'm like, yo, look at this. This is gonna be the company I'm gonna start. This is what I'm gonna go out and do. And so a lot of those people, they see me now. They're like, yo, man, I remember we used to just talk about it right down on the paper, and now here you are all over the news. You got your clothing line. You got all these
got the
branded
merch.
things. You're doing this. You become a household name in the state, man. It's crazy, and it's inspiring. I mean, that's just so crazy to me when people tell me that, like, I inspire them. There's so many people come out
Nah,
and
I'm
say
saying,
that.
listening
me.
to you,
They're
this is very
like,
inspiring.
Inspirational story.
Like,
yo,
yo,
I'm like, oh, I seen you on the
hard
news.
work though.
Like, I seen you on the news. I'm not surprised they see me on the news. I'm surprised that they watch the news. I'm like, oh shit, you watch the news? Not even like they saw me. I'm like, you watching the news, man? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, you're out there. You're definitely making a name for yourself, and just keep going.
Yeah, no other
Sky's
choice.
the limit.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
understand
Definitely
you
in
guys
this
are trying to go
industry.
for the next level and changing some of the laws, but what's the next step for rolling Relief? Like,
Just keep
other
riding.
than when you separate the two drivers, that means
Mhm.
now all you guys can jump in the car.
And then that means we can
Wow.
just grow the company at a faster rate. And I
Right.
think that's what's really our main goal. It's just increasing sales, customer acquisition, customer retention, our customer database becoming, the household name. When you think of
Yeah.
cannabis delivery in Massachusetts, you think of Roll and Relief,
Right.
you know what it is. Before it's only known by a select few. It's a very esoteric term, right? And so now Roll and Relief up on cannabis delivery, you don't even got to think twice about it.
That's dope. Where can they find you at?
www.rollingrelief, RELEAF.com. Find us on Instagram at rolling_relief, on Facebook, Rolling Relief, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on LinkedIn. We're on all the socials.
Everywhere.
We have to. Yeah, now LinkedIn is a very powerful platform if you're an entrepreneur. LinkedIn
Yes.
has
Right.
been
And you said Weed
extremely.
Maps.
Yeah, we're on Weed Maps too. We're on
Right.
Leafly as well.
Okay.
So, I really didn't realize how much work we had to put in for SEO before we launched. I think that's something that they didn't really teach us in the program. Getting our Google business account, getting people to leave us reviews, optimizing SEO, doing news interviews and having hyperlinks to our website in those interviews is all very beneficial for us. Doing podcasts, doing YouTube videos, YouTube channels, things like that, just really building your brand and creating your digital real estate. Because like I said, we're basically all digital. You can't walk into our facility. You got to find us online. You got to order online. You can't even call in and order because you have to upload your ID.
Right. So what do you guys just sit in the car all day just waiting for a hit? Boom. Time to move.
So we don't
Or you
open.
sit in the
You
office.
got
we
a
don't-
location, right?
We don't. Yeah, we have a
In
warehouse, right? So
Yeah.
it's 1,500 square feet. We didn't have to do too much.
God, yo, you just full of fucking weed, 1,500 square feet.
1,500 square feet. We have two rooms: our
Shit's
office
dope.
and our vault. You know what I'm saying? Our main feature is our vault. We have
Right.
13 cameras, bunch of alarms, glass break alarms, all that good stuff.
It's crazy.
And so we don't open up until noon. Our operating hours are noon to 9. So we give people time to place orders.
Yep.
So by the time that we pull up
Get
to the
them
facility
prepared.
at noon,
Mhm.
we already have the queue already built up. And then, we have route optimization software where we plug in the addresses and they optimize all the routes. So, it makes it the most efficient for us.
Mhm, mhm.
And you can prepay too, right?
What?
Can you prepay?
Yeah, you can
Put on
prepay.
your card.
You can prepay.
Yeah.
We also have, portable debit terminals as well. So, you don't want to do that.
You can't do contactless though, right? You can't
No,
just
we can't
prepay.
pre-
You can just drop it off with them, boom.
No,
leave it
we can't just drop it off. They have to be there and
Grab it.
sign for it.
Okay.
And it has to be that person that ordered it, right? So if
Show their
if
ID
a
when they
hus-
get
if
there. Oh,
there.
you
a
gotta check IDs again?
Yeah.
if a husband is at the crib and he orders it and his wife comes to the door, we can't give it to the wife. We have to give it to
Yeah.
the husband.
Yeah.
Or they get
Mhm.
upset about that too.
Makes sense. Follow the rules,
Yeah,
people.
it's crazy. It's a lot,
you're
man.
Getting weed delivered to you.
It's Massachusetts, right? But we were the first state on the East Coast to legalize, so they were, scared about a lot of things. But now the sky isn't falling. The sun came up this morning. You
What
don't have to
what
be
other
scared.
states can you get delivered?
Well, the states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other states deliver?
Other states deliver, so like New Jersey's rolling out delivery, Colorado's rolling out delivery, and New
Shit.
York's rolling out delivery. New York, they're allowing people to deliver on bikes and skateboards and shit. Like we have to get
In Mass, you can't.
we have to go
Obviously,
we
it's
have to
two
go
people,
we have to
so-
go acquire a vehicle, right? And it has to be the least owned. We can't even use our own personal vehicle. We have to
Okay,
it
business
has to
company
be
vehicle.
we have to go acquire it, and then we have to put 2 safes in it, one for cash, one for product, and then put multiple cameras inside the vehicle as well.
And it's a different type of inspection and they check it out.
Yeah, they come, they check it out. They make sure you can produce still clear images in color with timestamps on it. They make sure you have multiple logs, communication logs, transportation logs, manifests. It's so much work. That's why so many people get deterred by the process. But
Oh yeah.
you reach a certain point of no return.
You're turning regular
you-
cars into you're
Mhm.
putting another fucking 50 grand into this car.
Oh yeah, so you got to really
Just
be.
to soup it up. Now it's
Yeah.
burning more gas.
That's
'cause
what I'm
it's super
saying.
Heavy.
And you got to hold down your facility and pay monthly rent
Mhm.
for years sometimes before you even have
Before you
one
can even make a
sale.
delivery.
One sale.
You're just
and
sitting
right,
there.
sitting there, waiting. They only have the meetings once a month, right? So it's like.
See, folks, this is why you don't give up. Don't get acquired. Don't get
Exactly.
acquired because now the ceiling is if you had to project what you guys would be doing a year.
If we get this rule change, It's gonna get
Ridiculous,
crazy
right?
when we get this rule change. It's no,
Yes,
it,
exactly.
it's not,
When.
it's
When
not,
they
if,
say it,
it's
it's
not,
like-
it's not if anymore.
It's when,
You know,
right.
it's when, you know. So
happen.
we get the rule changed, and then they finally roll out the social equity trust fund so we can get more
Right.
infusion of
Money.
capital.
Yep.
It's gonna go right there. It's the long game, right? It's being patient. It's keeping shit tight and keeping shit lean, and just really being strategic on where you're putting your resources into.
Now there are a lot of politicians that are.
You can't
Good
be
for it.
you can't be in office. You have to be out of office.
No, I mean, but like when they're voting, they're like good for the industry, and then there's the ones that are like,
if they vote yes, yeah. Because
they vote
if they vote yes, it's
If
good
they
for
vote
it.
yes.
Because
Right.
it's crazy. It's like some of the original commissioners, the governing body of Cannabis Massachusetts, some of the people that were on the original, board voted no. Like why would you put them in charge of making the regulations when they don't, one, smoke cannabis, two, vote for cannabis,
Right.
three, you know how cannabis is supposed to run. I mean, that's just it's like literally ludicrous. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes. It's like these are the people that are in charge of making the real type makes
Politics does that
zero-
stuff all the time.
makes zero damn sense. It's all their own friends, right?
Mhm.
Because the people in those positions, one person is chosen by the governor, one person is chosen by the Secretary of State, one
Yeah.
person is chosen by the treasurer. So it's
That's
literally
wild.
just all their friends.
let me get my friends in there.
Exactly, because
Get
they're
them
gonna listen
together.
to them. They're
Right.
gonna say, no,
Keeps the same minds.
don't do
running
this,
shit.
don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Crazy.
it's all, it comes back to politics, right? People tell me, you should go be a politician. No way.
Exactly, because you got your feet
way.
on the ground. You are making headways. I'm telling you, I follow your Instagram and stuff, and I see you post all the bills, all the steps you've been making,
Yeah.
all the things that are passing. So like,
Yeah, and
you're
like-
staying
and-
ahead. You are definitely making ways out here and making change, and you're gonna make history. And
Yeah, and I credit that to the people who came before me.
Mhm.
One of my biggest inspirations and motivations is former Commissioner Shalene Title.
Okay.
This past weekend, she just hosted an amazing event for her company, for her nonprofit known as the Parabola Center. It's a nonprofit think tank that's working on federal legalization. So like this weekend, she had an event at the Boston Public Library. And she had people from all across the country come in and speak at it. People from LA, people from DC, people from Atlanta, people from Jersey. Like the top regulators in those places is basically like the all-star weekend for cannabis policy in Boston this
Right.
past
Okay.
weekend. Like we were kicking it with Ben Cohen, the co-founder of Ben and Jerry's. He's very big into
Okay.
racial justice and cannabis legalization. He was in Boston on Friday, just shooting the shit, talking with them, and all that. Good
And it's
shit.
crazy though because the federal problem is the reason why banks and everybody can't get involved.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay.
The whole they're trying to pass this bill called the Safe Banking Act. It's
right.
been trying to get passed for years.
Now what's that?
The Safe Banking Act is basically just going to allow banks to work with cannabis companies and give
right.
them safety provisions. Thankfully, in Massachusetts, the banking problem isn't as bad as in other states where they have to operate in all cash. So here we have a credit union called GFA Credit Union out in Gardner. That allows us to have, a checking account.
Right.
I have a debit card. I have
Okay.
a checkbook, but we can't, go to an ATM and withdraw cash. It has to be
Yeah,
all
that's the
debit
bank.
transactions and
Okay.
all checks, so they can
Yeah,
track
keep
everything.
track of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. At least you
Mhm.
have that resource. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have people that are able to pick up our cash from our spot and go transfer it to a bank for us. We can't do that ourselves, right? We can't just walk in with 10 racks.
It's
to a
just that
bank
third
and
party
be-
is
it's
where,
the-
yeah.
that's literally the name of the license type, it's the third party transporter. So they transport, cash from a facility to a bank, or they transport, products from the grower to the store.
Right. And that's
So
That's
many positions that
Yeah,
I'm
there's
learning about.
So many
like-
different license types in the state.
Yeah, so
Everyone
many
wants to own a
opportunities.
dispensary, but there's so
Exactly.
many other different things you can do. And like,
Yeah.
you don't have to own a license type to have an impact in the industry or even be relevant. I know people that just have pre-roll brands and have certain other brands as well, or do educational talks, right? Or like my man Darrell Black, he hosts an educational series called Let's Talk Weed, where he gathers people and gives out information free. My man Gary Perry has a business called Tiny Trap Concerts, where he goes and he brings local musicians and they perform on dispensary floors, right?
okay.
In the dispensary. And people are able to purchase products and shit like that. And they are two great examples of people who have ancillary businesses that are still relevant in the space.
That's dope.
That's dope. There's so many great things happening. You just got to look out for it and you got to keep your ear to the streets, because if you want to make an impact, if you want to make a change, if you want to see different things happening in Massachusetts, you can definitely make it happen. Devin's making it happen.
Yeah.
Nah, Devin,
So-
that's a bomb ass come up story, man. That's dope, yo. Like, that's ground up. Like, that's y'all just sat there and just sat there.
Brick by brick. I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, there's a lot of
Exactly.
doubt.
Brick by brick.
There's
Waiting.
a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
like,
doubt.
and it's expensive.
There's times when, you
It's
know,
like-
you got to really like look at yourself and be like, yo, you cut out for this? You know, it's not for everyone, man. You know, those
Right.
damns, like raising capital, trying to get money is the hardest thing ever.
And I hope,
Yo, it's
and I hope
harder than
everyone heard,
licensing process.
that's that first part you said, like, yo, that first stage,
That
family and
first-
friends.
That first
You gotta believe
that-
sometimes in your peoples, yo.
that first investment is always the hardest because people
crazy.
people will ask you, well, how much have you raised so far? How much have you raised so far? Nothing yet, but you could be the first. I'll give you a discount if you cut the first check. You know,
Right.
they want to see you have certain things in place. They want to see you have traction. Like our current investors didn't cut us a check until like a full calendar year. They vetted us for a full year before
Right.
they cut their first check. But I was very fortunate and I was very resourceful. So when I got into that Lantern Incubator program, the biggest benefit of being in that program was they set us up with attorneys pro bono. Like we didn't pay a single lawyer fee for like the whole process because getting into this program. And these lawyers, they're charging like $700 an hour. And like
Crazy.
they're like those invoices pile up quick. And you got to think that over a 3-year period in time trying to get an opening, people fizzle out before they even, you know, and then you got to think of getting the capital to actually do the construction on your facility and do all this, especially if you're a cultivator, if you're a
Right.
dispensary, you're doing all this crazy interior design. But, you know, with delivery, we didn't have to do that because people aren't coming into our spot. So our spot was really, you know, made for us. So all we had to do was just change a couple of doors, put some cameras in. Now, I went to Quincy High. It was a vocational technical school. So my homies, you know, they do carpentry and they do electricians, they're plumbers. So
Right.
I had my boy build up my spot for less than 15 G's. So people aren't, you know, as fortunate as I am, you know, unfortunately. And then also I got into this accelerator program back in last year. It's this national program based out of California called the Ease Momentum Program. And, you know, people from all across the country apply to it, you know, submit videos, essays, all of that. I applied in 2022. I made it to semifinals. I didn't make the final cut, right? And then I bring down the association. I create a whole new license type. I get a whole bunch of buzz around my name. I started doing more. So I apply again the next year. I make it to the semifinals. And then they hit me up, right? And they're like, yo, you made it to the finals, but it's really stiff competition this year. Would you mind coming out to LA for a photo shoot interview? I'm like,
photo shoot.
and I'm like, all right, cool. Like on like a 1 week notice. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just drop everything. Me and my partner, we flew out to LA. It was in downtown LA. We go to this building. We're the first people there. And they're like, yeah, the photo shoot's about to be on the 8th floor. Just go chill on the 6th floor. We'll come get you when everything's ready. So they're like, you can smoke in there, you can drink in there. And like people are coming in. So like 100 people apply. When it comes to the semifinals, they choose 25. And then for the finals, they choose 10 of that 25. So only 10 companies get it. So as people are starting to file in, I'm starting to count everybody that's here. I'm like, yo, there's only 10 companies here. You know what I'm saying? I think this is everybody. So it comes time for the photo shoot. You know, we go up like 2 floors. We walk into this big room. We open it up. Like 60 people in there. Surprise! Woo! You guys made it. You guys got it.
You guys are the ones?
You know what I'm saying? You guys, there was no interview. There was no all that.
Right.
They just want us to all be there in person, give us oversized checks. And it's dope because like people in that room are people that I've been looking up to in the industry from like a nationwide point, people from Oregon, Washington State, California, people who I didn't get to meet in person until that point in time. They're cheering us on. They're clapping us on. You know, like Matt Barnes, former NBA players in there giving us checks and telling me, he's like, yo, I seen your video, you're Devin Alexander, right? I'm like, oh shit, you know who I am? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's me.
So I'm like, oh, that's so wild. So I mean, so boom. So now, you know, that was March of last year. So now we got 50 racks, right? That was the biggest benefit of being in this program now. They give you an equity-free $50,000 grant, you know, so.
Don't have to pay
So now we have our pro bono attorneys. We got $50,000. So now we can pop. So now we hold the power when it comes to negotiations with investors. I'm like, yo, I got this, and this. Either you cut a check, somebody else is gonna, you know, like, so I can get through the process without you now. So what do you want to do here?
Coming to the table with something now.
Exactly. It's tough when you try to pitch your idea when you don't
Just
have
an
any,
idea, when you have nothing
when you have
behind
no tangible assets, nothing to show
Right.
for it. People are gonna chew you up and spit you out. Right.
Crazy.
We did that. Like we went out to Del Frisco Steakhouse. These people had us there for like 5 hours, asking us just absurd questions. Does your wife like Devin? What would you do in this situation? Yada yada yada. It feels like you're like at the NFL draft combine,
Yeah,
right?
they want to know what's going to happen if
They're
this money
picking
messes
you.
up.
They're picking you
Right.
apart. They're trying to lower your valuation so they can get in for a cheaper cost.
How weak are you?
And then you leave those meetings. You're like, yo, am I doing? They're like, you're doing everything wrong. This ain't gonna work. But I'll give you this much. So it's like, yo, what am I doing wrong here? Like I was really like rattled after that meeting for like 2 weeks. I just couldn't get it out of my head. I'm like, damn, they got to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
another meeting we had, it was virtual, and we was with this older white woman who was big in fashion industry in New York, and we're doing this back and forth. And she asked us, she's like, "Yeah, you guys are really something, huh? You guys are good." I'm like, "Yeah, now we're up and coming." She's like, "You ain't shit." Like this, she dead ass was like, "You ain't shit." Talk to me. We did 100 deliveries, and I was like,
Right.
I was like, you get humbled real quick in this
And at
process.
this time, when you guys did none.
Not exactly, and we didn't even have a license. We didn't have a location. We didn't have
Crazy.
all this yet. So I'm like, she's right, but I hated that she's right.
Okay, now you can look back at it.
Now I'm gonna hit you up. I'm like, I did like 500 plus. What up now, bitch? That's good.
I was about to say that. Like,
Exactly.
what's that
That's
number?
that
Like,
motivation.
Oh yeah, no, we're
That's
at
ridiculous.
500 plus now. We launched in late February, so
Oh.
we've done over 500 plus deliveries now at this point in time.
Right.
4 months. 4 months, people.
Mhm.
But he did the blueprint. You're leaving us a blueprint of just how you got to be feet to the ground and really grind and have passion. You have passion for this. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because you could have gave up
Oh, 100%.
many years ago. This has
Exactly.
been a process. So
Yeah, no, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing right now. I just
Mhm.
really love weed. I just really passionate about it. I really love the people that are involved in it. You know, it can be really shitty, but at the same time can be really amazing. And just being able to see what you can accomplish, you know,
Mhm.
it really helped me come into my own because it really helped bring
Right.
multiple things out of me. It helped me learn a lot about politics, a lot about running a business, a lot about municipalities. You know, it's really, you know, public speaking. Like I took Toastmasters classes to enhance my public speaking skills. And like,
Crazy.
Those are skillful.
I
We
was
need those.
just, you know, it really brought out the best of me and really helped my full potential of showing people what I could do. And I was very mediocre at a lot of things before I started doing this, but now I can show them, boom, this is what
You're
I'm
going there
good. This
fully
is
confident
this
now,
is
you
what
can stand up
I'm
in
this is
there
what
and
I'm
talk.
good at. This is what I was put on earth to do. Like I was made to sell weed. I was made to have a cannabis business. I was made to change cannabis laws.
Crazy.
That's amazing. That's what life is
It
all
all
about.
started in the back of a car.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Exactly. And like at that point in time, I thought my life was over, but that was really just the beginning, right?
That's great. This is a great
Mhm.
story. We so appreciate you being on here today, Devin.
Yeah, no
Devin, Thank you
problem.
for coming through today.
No, 100%. Thanks
Again,
for
let them know
having
where they
me.
can find you.
www.rollingrelief, RELEAF.com. Find us on Weed Maps, Leafly, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, all that. LinkedIn,
Instagram.
Instagram, yep.
Instagram.
At rolling_relief. Yep.
Yep.
All the good stuff.
Definitely order some deliveries. You know, get your
Oh, yeah.
get your deliveries on. Get your merch. I like that sweater.
Oh, thank you.
Part of
Thank
the
you.
R Squad. If you know, you know. I'm gonna get me one. But definitely, thank you, Devin. Shout out again,
See you
Rolling
later.
Relief.
Coffee, blunts, and donuts.
We out here.
It's a wrap.